I think we're here. This is the after party. I think I lost Tim. So when he comes back, I'll get him on. No, I mean, we're here for the little bonus round, the little bonus show. And we're going to break down the show. Let me get Tim back on here real quick, guys. And we're going to start this show. Sorry for the delay. All right, I think he's going to respond sooner or later. But anyways, we are doing the wildcard round. A lot of people have been asking, are we going to break it down or whatnot? Well, yes, we are. And we're gonna do it. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to. Oh, there we go.
Hey, you got me now?
Yeah, now we got sound. We got you back on, brother. Hey, you know what they say? When you go to the after party, like this party, there's always one guy that gets left behind. We pick him up, we put him on our shoulder, and we keep partying. Here we go, the wild card.
You're have to carry me through this wild card slate, man. But a little special surprise. Had a couple people asking about the breakdown for the weekend, so figured we'd pop on, give you guys a little New Year's surprise with a special show tonight. Shout out to Eddie in the chat. What's up, man?
Yeah, Eddie, my boy. Oh, man. Eddie, we go way back. Shout out to the family of Eddie Bam Santa, for sure. Kyle Ski, thanks for tuning in. Today, this slate kind of crazy. I'm not going to lie. Like, I've never done a wild card show. Have you ever done a wild card show?
No, the closest thing we've done is the Thanksgiving show. So it's like a combo Thanksgiving show.
Ooh, I like it. Well, let's stop wasting time and jump into it because as our grandfather Jeff Lambert would say, we're running a little bit too long on the show. You guys need to hurry up. So, no,
we won't have Jeff tonight. So you guys are going to have to keep us on track.
Yeah.
Any questions? I get into here these Shiner box right here.
Yeah. Any questions you guys have, please feel free to ask them. Don't be shy. So let's go ahead and jump into the three. We're going to do two. Okay, so we talked about it before the show, Tim. This is a 6-game slate. So we're going to do the main slate seems to have the most popular tournament. So obviously the Millie Maker, $25 is the 3-game slate on Saturday. So let's break that down first. Let's start with quarterback. I don't have the sound drop, so that's kind of different, right? So quarterback, I think the most popular quarterback. Who do you have, Tim, as your most popular quarterback or your favorite quarterback of the slate? Obviously, it's only a 3-game slate on a Saturday.
Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, man. I think the chalk this week is going to be Josh Allen, and I think for good reason, man. He just, to me, stands out as the best quarterback play on the slate, and he has so many, easy stacking options. But I think that obviously I'm going to have a good amount of exposure to Josh Allen, but I think my favorite play this weekend might be Ryan Tannehill, man. Wow. I've talked about Ryan Tannehill a few times on the stream throughout the year. I think that he is going to be under-owned, and I think that he's the only quarterback other than Allen and Lamar that I think has a realistic shot of, getting one on the ground as well as, I'm not talking Tom Brady 1-yard jump over the line touchdown, which we know he's famous for, the QB sneak. But I think Tannehill's got real upside on this slate. So Allen and Tannehill are definitely my two favorite quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, I think Josh Allen definitely for sure the top quarterback of the slate. The Indianapolis Colts are kind of like a team that you kind of wonder, like, are they a real good defense or are they a fake defense? But obviously they rank out to be a pretty good defense. But Josh Allen's just been lighting it up. I mean, this year he probably a lot of people say he was the dark horse for MVP, but I didn't really think he was
If my boy A-Rod wasn't having such a spectacular season, it would be Allen's MVP, man.
Yeah, I mean,
no disrespect to Derrick Henry or some of the other guys, Russell Wilson through like 8 weeks of the season, but it's Rodgers for MVP this year.
That really got real quick, huh? The whole
He did. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes, man. Russ was cooking for about 8 weeks. Patrick Mahomes was cooking for about 12 weeks, but they both kind of hit a wall in there somewhere.
But of course,
I want to real quick. I don't know if you mentioned this already, but I got a question from Scott in the chat. We're going to be breaking down the full 6-game slate. I will be playing both the 3-game individual slates and the 6-game slate. Obviously, there's a little bit different strategy, so we're going to talk about that a little bit throughout the show. But I will say that I normally don't play cash on small slates, but I think if you wanted to play cash on the 6-game slate, that's a little bit more interesting because there's not as many high dollar contests on the 6-game slate. Lends itself a little bit better to playing cash.
Yeah, I think that's when you went off for a little bit, but I did mention that the 3-game slate had the highest tournament value. I mean, the Millie Maker and all that. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna try to break down the whole slate basically. Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen definitely top quarterback for sure. I like that Ryan Tannehill call because in a wild card game, I always say this, especially in the 2021. If you were to play in the playoff, everybody worries about what? Home field advantage. There's not going to be a home field advantage. I don't know if I believe Baltimore is the only team, one of the few teams that are allowing fans. I don't know how many fans are allowing, maybe 7,500, maybe 15,000.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have an advantage, but Baltimore hasn't been that much impressive on the run game, and that's the way Tennessee gets it done. But if I can see Ryan Tannehill getting some rushing upside, I mean, he's one of the 3 quarterbacks that have rushing upside with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and himself. A lot of people don't see that, but I mean, you can say Mitchell Trubisky, but let's be honest, are you playing Mitchell Trubisky on a wild card game? Play.
But no, I played Trubisky this year, but I will not play him this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think Josh Allen is the number 1 quarterback. Who's your favorite value quarterback?
Probably Drew Brees. I originally would have said Phillip Rivers, but I think I'm going to switch to Drew Brees.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm going to try and pay up for one of those top guys, though. I'm really going to try and find my way up there this weekend, especially if I'm playing cash and probably in the majority of my tournament lineups as well. Yeah, but I will have at least one Brees line I know of. I've already built.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think Tom Brady ranks as my second best value quarterback next to Josh Allen. I mean, his upside for Josh Allen is just crazy. I think maybe just my personal opinion, but one of the I think everybody's going to be looking at the numbers and all that, but Big Ben at 6.1K versus Cleveland. Cleveland actually had a pretty decent, I guess you could say pass rush upside and everything, but I think Big Ben can tear that defense apart. It's just kind of weird. Like, we don't really know what Big Ben has to offer against Cleveland because he didn't play in the last game. Mason Rudolph was out there. He got a hug from Myles Garrett at the end of the game, apparently. They talked about, So, like, I just don't – I can't see Cleveland really stopping Big Ben. That running game is not really existing for me right now. James Conner, what's his name? Jalen Samuel, and what's the other running back's name? I forgot his name. But anyway.
Who, Benny Snell?
Yeah, Benny Snell. Thank you. But I think it just overall, I mean, with that game, we have a 47.5 implied total. I mean, that's a pretty high, in my personal opinion, that's a pretty high scoring game for a rivalry game. Mm-hmm. So, but I think everybody's going to be betting the 55 over under with that Baltimore Tennessee game. I'm interested in Lamar Jackson, but that price, 7.8K, and he should be highly owned, 16.5% right now. He's highly owned. But like we said, Josh Allen's at 21%. Drew Brees, shockingly coming at 14%. But I think like we have to, and this is the thing that I learned from when I play Wildcard and semifinals or whatever. What do they call the Wildcard and what? Championship game?
Divisional round.
Yeah, divisional round. And then you go on and on. So value matters a lot, and we have to find the value to make that construction roster. Is there any other quarterbacks that you're looking at besides Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Big Ben, and Drew Brees?
You mentioned Brady. That was the only other one I had on my list. I had Rivers, but I really don't think I'll end up getting there. It'll probably be those 5. I usually stick to the 20 max games, and in those games, I don't like to have more than about 4 or 5 quarterbacks. That way I can have multiple stacks.
I agree. I mean, how can you count out the GOAT, guys? Look at
Can't.
So sexy. No, I love Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady, maybe I'm being biased here, but let's be honest here. He's the GOAT. And in the playoff, he's going to have to keep going, And I'm not going to lie, I have a couple bets out there. He got to beat this Washington football team.
Absolutely.
But
the Packers want their revenge against the Bucs anyway. That was the worst game. I was in Vegas for that game. Y'all know I lost money on that game. I want Brady and the Bucs to have to come up to Lambeau and get our revenge. So I'm very much looking forward to that. I don't want the football team to spoil the fun. Sorry to Brian.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that does worry me about Brady, as we spoke before the show, a pass rush really kills Brady. If you look at all his career games that he's had really bad game, it's a pass rush. And, well, this is one of the best pass rush. I believe they are the best pass rush team in the NFL. Washington football team, Chase Young said it. And he said it in I saw like a video of him saying, "I want Tom."
Mm-hmm. And he said, "I'm coming for Tom."
Yeah, be careful what you wait for, young man. But let's go ahead and move on to the running back.
Are we not doing tight ends? Tight ends.
Yeah, guys, I'm just kidding. Jeff Lambert would say tight end. Who's your top? I guess we could say let's go with value tight end because we got to get cheap somewhere, and we always get cheap at tight end. So let's go ahead and say who's your value tight end if you had one.
Yeah, my favorite play is actually a perfect segue from you talk about Brady, is that when Brady is pressured, he goes back to old reliable, and that's Mr. Rob Gronkowski there at 4,000. He gives you he's kind of right in the middle as far as tight end pricing goes, but I think he's got a reasonable shot to be the number one tight end on the slate. It's a pretty good matchup against a football team. And I think that, like I said, due to the pressure I expect them to put on Brady, he's going to have a lot of, dump off. So I think Gronk's going to see probably 7 targets here. If he gets into the end zone, that's great at 4,000. Obviously, you're going to him to pay up for everybody else.
I agree with you on that. But before I move on, I have to say this because shout out to Kyle Sendra. He said it right. So we got to do the tight end bit again. Did somebody say tight end? No. Yeah, I love Rob Gronkowski. I think a lot of people I get it. He wasn't like the Rob Gronkowski we know, right? But guess what? In game environment where it really matters, Gronk stepped up. Why? Mm-hmm. Because that's Tom Brady's favorite target. And I believe Gronkowski is coming at very low ownership. He's coming in at, there's 2 different slates, so let's go ahead and that's going to matter. On a 6-game slate, he's coming in at 2% ownership. On a 2-game slate, which is tomorrow, Saturday, or midnight, whatever time you are at right now, he's coming at 14%. So that's the thing you got to look at. But I love Gronkowski as a constrained play for sure, and a good value play. But I think if we're doing it, let me go ahead and look. Sorry, because I'm all over the place on this. As a value tight end, I have to go back to one of my favorite guys, and I've been doing that all years, right? I
wasn't going to take your boy from you. Come on.
I mean, it's Logan Thomas, baby. Yeah, baby. This guy, come on, guys. Let's be honest here. Top 5 tight end. I said in the offseason, I said he was this year's Darren Waller, and he did it. It might have taken him the whole fucking season, but he did it. I know, man. Honestly, I was having did I look like a dumbass on that one? But guess what? I actually looked okay. Obviously, he didn't do as great as Darren Waller, but he did okay. Top 5 tight end, 4.9K. A little bit pricier, but when you have Tampa Bay with that rushing upside of that defensive front, I think Alex Smith is just going to pepper him with target over and over and over here.
Yeah, his target volume lately has been so high, seeing so many targets the last few weeks. A couple weeks ago at Seattle, he saw 16 targets. That kind of volume is just unreal at the tight end position for anybody that's not, Travis Kelce. So, yeah, when you're going to get a price at 4,900 like that, I didn't want to take your boy from you, but it's hard not to see him as the best tight end play on the slate. I love Gronk. I love Jared Cook, but I think you want to find the money to get up to Logan Thomas here. I really do.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. If you're going to pay up for a little more, definitely Mark Andrews for sure.
He's a great play too.
I think Lamar Jackson maybe turning on a little bit during the end of the season. And Mark Andrews has been going, I mean, Mark Andrews is going to be Mark Andrews. We know what he was. We wanted him to be what we wanted him to be at the end of the season, at the beginning of the season, but he wasn't showing up. But now he has. I mean, to me, is this. When you're playing GPP, the way you're going to find value is that tight end and defense. And on a 6-game slate, you're gonna have to be very contrarian. But I love Mark Andrews, I love Logan Thomas, and I like Rob. I can't say I love him. But I think those are some of the top of your options. You want to go contrarian. I don't know, Tim. I don't know if I really feel any more comfortable outside those guys. I mean, there's probably one more guy.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Because I think if you're playing the 3-game slates, especially at tight end, you got to kind of get a little weird if you want to be contrarian. Because I think the guys that we've named, we didn't really talk much about Jared Cook. It's looking like, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but it's looking like Michael Thomas is going to play.
Yeah.
So I think that makes Cook less of an option than I think he would have been because it's a great matchup DVP against the Bears. He probably would have been my favorite tight end if that was the case, but I just don't know how much upside he has because of the volume. So any of the guys that you're going to kind of quote unquote punt for, you're really just kind of hoping that they get a touchdown and nobody else breaks the slate, right? Because Andrews could break the slate, Thomas could break the slate. I don't know if Gronk could play, but he could put up a 20. But if you're talking about guys like Ebron, Higbee, Jimmy G, like you're just hoping that they get you a touchdown and you can hit everywhere else. Somebody mentioned in the chat, and I do want to mention it real quick, is you can punt with one of the Buffalo tight ends because it does look like he sometimes lets you, we'll throw those in, and especially when he gets close. But again, there's just not enough upside for me to really consider that when you can get, Logan Thomas and Gronk and Cook in the 4K range.
Yeah, I mean, on a 3-game slate, I think if I was punting a tight end on a 3-game slate, I would, I don't think anybody wants to hear it. Is Gerald Everett or Tyler Higbee? I mean, Tyler Higbee 3.4, Gerald Everett 3K. But the thing is, we don't know who's starting at quarterback yet, and that's what pisses me off. Because you can have Jared Goff, or you can have. I never even heard of this guy.
I'm assuming that Goff is going to play. The Vegas line leads me to believe that Goff is going to play. Obviously, if they find out otherwise, the line's going to massively move. At least I think it will, at least a couple points, but. I think that everybody at this point thinks Goff's going to play.
This guy's last name is Walford, right?
Yeah.
So I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast, and when he said Walford, I'm like, who the fuck is that? And then all of a sudden, wait a minute, Goff? Because like I said, I didn't play last week's DFS because last week's DFS is just a gambling. I mean, honestly, we gamble every week.
Hey, no. First of all my stacks hit last week, so I don't want to hear that from you. But no, that's what killed me. People were talking about, Walford's such a good option last week. And I'm like, the thing in week 17 is you play the guys that are actually motivated to score you points. So, like, I had Viking stacks and Titan stacks, and, like, that's how you win last week, not playing guys like John Walford. And I'm going to say the same thing this weekend. You're not going to win this slate, even if Jared Goff slits with John Walford at your quarterback, okay? If you want to save money and hope for, a stack to break with a cheap quarterback, it's going to be the Saints. But Walford gives you some rushing upside, but not enough to where I think he's a viable play when you have so many good quarterbacks on this slate.
All right, so just an update on the tight end position. Play Logan Thomas, Dawson Knox to be contrarian, Rob Gronkowski. I mean, just Mark Andrews, right? I mean, just you got to play Mark Andrews for sure.
So I knew Mark Andrews played the Titans well earlier in the season, but I went back and looked, and in the playoffs last year, he did not play well against them. Obviously, it's a super small sample size, but I was thinking, if you were playing them in Mark Andrews in that game last year, like a showdown or something, and he got you 4 for 39, you were probably pretty disappointed. So definitely hope that's not the case.
What about this guy? He kind of went off the wall a little bit for a little bit. Like, he didn't do good. But in the last weeks or so, he done very good. Jonnu Smith versus Jacksonville Jaguar got 20 points. Versus Denver, he got 13 points. Versus Minnesota, he got 11 points. And he's coming in at 3.2K, I believe. I think I'm going to have some exposure to him. But the thing is, to me, I probably only stack him with Tannehill. But that's probably me.
Yeah, here's the interesting thing, and I actually found this out when I was doing my research. Last week, he actually got out-snapped by Jeff Swaim. Now, I know Swaim is mostly a blocking tight end, but Michael Pruitt also played 42%, Jeff Swaim 65%, and then Jonnu Smith 58%. So they have a lot of those, guys overlapping. But I couldn't believe when I read that Jeff Swaim got 65% of snaps at tight end last week. That was shocking to me. If we had a sit call, I mean, it's a 6-game slate, so it's kind of hard to have a sit call. But if I was going to have a sit call, it was going to be Jeff Swaim.
I like that, man.
2,500, just completely punt it and hope he gets you a touchdown play.
All right, this is the part where we go to a commercial break. So here we go. My name is Jeff Lambert. I have a piece of socks. I like to trade and sell. I hope it's good enough. It's just black, a little dusty. Maybe, I don't know. I just found out before.
It's still the holidays. It's still cold. Donate socks to your local homeless shelter or go to Society Socks. Remember, you need that combed cotton in your life.
Hey, did you get some of those socks? How were they?
I did. I actually really like them. I don't really go to work, the ones that kind of dress socks, so I don't really wear them that often. But I tried them on. They were nice, and then I obviously sent the pair to Mr. Figueroa up there in New Jersey. So
thank you for the donation to everybody to make that donation. It really meant a lot to the show. It was awesome. Honestly, I couldn't believe we pulled that kind of community. I hope one day we can make a difference, But let's go ahead and jump in. One of the most important positions in the world is deep. I'm just kidding. Running back. Oh, wow.
Let's talk running backs.
Let's talk running back. Let's go to let's just do the 6-game slate, because I think if you go let's say running back the most important position for a good reason. But let's just do the whole 6-game slate. I think me, you, my imaginary blow job doll up there. We're all gonna play Alvin Kamara. We know it. Alvin Kamara is probably the best player on the slate, playing Chicago. He didn't have that great of a game against them during the season, but I think it's more because he didn't have Drew Brees, right?
Right.
Taysom Hill was there. I think in this game environment against Chicago, he's coming in at 40% ownership.
Yeah,
that's high. But
so this is kind of my thoughts on the subject. If you're playing the 6-game slate, you're probably, or if you're playing this 3-game slate with Buffalo, right? You're playing Stefan. We haven't got there yet, but you're going to play Stefan Diggs.
Okay.
So chances are if you're playing the 6-game slate, you're paying up for one of these running backs and then Stefan Diggs, right? Would you agree with that?
Yes.
So I don't know, unless you're going to say, that Kamara, say you do Henry and Kamara and you're going to fade Stefan Diggs. That's going to give you massive leverage, but it's also a massive risk. So I think most builds are going to be either Kamara Diggs or Henry Diggs in my estimation. When we're talking about the 6-game slate.
I think it's going to be Henry Diggs, to be honest with you. And you're right.
Yeah, me too.
Because I think everybody can MVP Henry, It's can we say Johnny Henry?
Right.
It's still winter because he's still fucking rocking it.
It is.
Yeah, I definitely like that call. Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, but Derrick Henry is just a fucking monster. I don't even know how to guy with him. Like, honestly, I haven't seen a running back this good as him, as big as him, since probably Jamal Lewis. Jamal Lewis was like 235 pounds too, so like it's like still like 20 pounds lighter than him.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying Brandon Jacob. Everybody, calm your ass down. Okay, Brandon Jacob wasn't that great. But
so if you're playing the 3-game slate, the Sunday slate, I think that you want to try. Obviously, it's going to be hard, but you want to try and get Henry and Kamara, and then try and figure out a way to make that viable, because they give you a different kind of ceiling if you're playing that 3-game slate. Likewise, and with a guy we haven't talked about, which I know I don't want to take your guy from you again, but if you're playing the 3-game slate on Saturday, I think your build starts, other than Stefan Diggs, I think your build starts with Jonathan Taylor, right? Yeah. You don't have Henry or Kamara, so you're looking for that volume back. And at 7,900, I think over the last couple of weeks, he's been that volume. Obviously, last week, he got Jacksonville about the Swiss cheese of all matchups there. But I mean, still, the volume has been there. He's been out snapping Hines consistently. I'm going to talk about him in a minute, but I love Jonathan Taylor this week on both slates. I think I'm going to have a lot of either Henry Taylor or Kumar Taylor lineups to try and get some differentiation from, like I said, all this Diggs ownership. But I think that not only is it a great spot because of what I think Indy wants to do against Buffalo, he's just like peaking at the right time, and he gets you a discount over the other guys. So I just think it's such a good spot for him.
No, I agree with you there. I mean, I think as the season went on, we kind of noticed that Jonathan Taylor got, trash bid, I guess we can say. He got trash bid, but it was more like they realized, oh my God, we drafted a guy in the second round. Maybe he's pretty good. Maybe we traded up for him. How about we just play him? The more opportunity he got, the better he got. But the thing is, I'm not gonna lie to you, he had to learn. He had to adjust to the NFL lifestyle because everybody's as fast as him, everybody's as big as him. But you got to be smart up here. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm a big Jonathan Taylor fan. I watch his videos every week. I go to YouTube and see what did he do wrong, what did he do right. Because that's why I had a lot riding on him. In Dynasty, I put him the number 1 pick for rookie. I put him up there top 20 for rookie in Dynasty. I'm talking overall ranking. I'm talking all the NFL players. And now it's working out for me, hopefully. Cross my fingers. But definitely a great play. He's going to be 55% owned on a 3-game slate. And on a 6-game slate, he's projected to be 39%. No, sorry, that's not him. That's 60% owned because we have Kumar coming up there, another running back. But that's what on a 3-game slate, which is the main slate. Yeah, he's the number 1 play for sure. Buffalo, the way you stop them from getting offense opportunity, you take it off the field. You play defense and you run it down their throat. And I'm not very impressed with their run defense either. I think Buffalo struggles sometimes against it, and I think Jonathan Taylor can make the difference. And that's the way you're going to beat the Buffalo Bills. And honestly, they're going to be smashing tables if Jonathan Taylor runs all over them. But on a 3-game slate, I think for sure him. Other than that, you're going to have to go with Alvin Kamara and all those guys. But do you have a running back that's really just sticking out to you as a value?
Yeah, I think the one that sticks out to me is Cam Akers. At 5,100, I think he's probably underpriced on the slate, and part of it is DraftKings algorithm, which takes into account your last couple games, and they don't really care, what the situation is. Like you think he kind of limped into week 17, he still gave him 21 carries, but he looked bad enough where DraftKings was like, oh, we got to drop his price massively, and now he's back to where he was in week 14 when he went off against New England. So Seattle has actually, given up a decent amount of yards on the ground. Obviously, you want to attack them through the air, but they'll give up a good number of rushing yards. I think they're 95, so they're 5th, but they'll still give up a number of yards, and they'll give him a lot more snaps. They've proven that, kind of like you said with Jonathan Taylor. Same thing we're going to talk about here in a minute with J.K. Dobbins, right? It's rookie season now, right? All these rookies have kind of proven. It may have taken, some weeks, but they're finally getting that. Like I have a note here. Last week when Mark Ingram came back, he took snaps away from Gus Edwards, not away from J.K. Dobbins. They still gave him a snap. So, but I think the guy that has the potential to be the best value is Cam Akers.
Yeah, that's for sure. He's my
at least in my projections anyway. Yeah.
No, he's not only a projection. It's let me put it this way: if the hobo was living on the street and said, "Who's the best running back as a value?" he'd be like, "I'll throw all my quarters on this guy for a hot dog." Definitely Cam Akers for sure. He's going all the way around. One of the guys that really interests me, and just maybe if you have to, please take me off him. It's Chris Carson at 5.9K against the Los Angeles Rams. I think he's just a 5.9K. I can't really remember the last time I saw a running team because let's be honest here, Russ hasn't been cooking. And for sure against the Los Angeles Rams, they had a pretty stout defense. They had or have. I don't know what you want to say. But for sure, Chris Carson's going to get the volume. In the playoff, I always feel like Pete Carroll goes back to his core, and he just wants to run the ball. And, Russell Wilson, he was an MVP for the first, 8 weeks? and after that, he's just kind of like, yeah, nah. But I think at 5.9K, it's him. I have one question for you. Antonio Gibson. What are you going to do with him?
No, I'm not touching it. If I'm touching one of them, I'm going the other way. I'm going with J.D. McKissic. I think that what the Bucs do is they stop backs like Gibson, right? So you're going to go McKissic for the PPR upside. He's also a little bit cheaper. You're obviously not expecting him to get a ton of touches. And obviously, if he gets a touchdown, it's much more likely to be through the air. But at 4,900, if you're going to say pivot off of somebody like Cam Akers, you're hoping that he gets you there on, 8 to 10 targets or something like that, right? That they get behind and they just say, okay, we're going to put McKissic on every snap, go no huddle, and just check it down, captain check down mode. So it's the same kind of thing as Logan Thomas, right? That's the kind of game script that we project would benefit those guys. I would not play them together, right? But I think that they both have similar possibilities to get there based on game script.
So I don't know about you, but like I live in Utah. You live in Texas, so that's pretty fucking hot down there. But down here, I get cold. But like when players start warming up, they start going a lot of good. They get like NBA Jam mode. Like he's on fire. His name is David Montgomery.
Mm-hmm.
Like this guy, he had 28 points for the Green Bay. You're a Green Bay Packer.
I am. Here's the thing. My only thing with David Montgomery is I feel like he had the cakest schedule to end the year.
Hey, you let him be. Okay? I'm just kidding.
It was cake. Okay? It was the same thing I said about Jonathan Taylor. He got Green Bay, Houston, Minnesota, Jacksonville, and then Green Bay again. Okay? If there's one flaw in the Green Bay defense is that they are terrible at stopping the run. They want you to try and pass on them, which is kind of crazy. But so I think that the way the Saints, same thing. They are not going to let Mitch Trubisky let David Montgomery beat them. They're going to say, you're going to have to beat us with Mitch Trubisky, right? That's what's going to happen. They'll put 9 in the box or whatever and just play David Montgomery. You know what I mean? I'm making that up. But the point is I don't expect him to have enough upside to pay off a 6,900 price tag. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think I agree with you. You shouldn't play him. I mean, when he played the New Orleans Saints, he didn't get a touchdown, nothing. He got 89 yards for 4.24 yards per carry. 5 targets. He only got 2 receptions, 16 yards. Yeah, that's what I expect out of it. And in the playoffs, it's not going to be any different because guess what? In the playoffs, the Saints are only going to play better. That's for sure. And it is at New Orleans home. I don't think they're one of the teams that allow fans at their home. So maybe I'm wrong.
No, I did like Sean Payton say that he wished he could quarantine 50,000 Saints fans so that he could have them for the game. But no, I'm pretty sure that they're not going to really have any fans there.
But let's be honest here. When you play Mitchell Trubisky, you could play Helen Keller in the fans, and he still wouldn't score at any point.
Yeah.
But actually, he would score points. I'm just kidding, guys. No, that's what I was wondering about David Montgomery because he's been the hottest running back in the league. He took a lot of people to the championship, that's for sure. In football. But no, I think the top running backs you want to play: Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Cam Akers. You want to have definitely Jonathan Taylor for sure. But those are your core right there. As a value play, is definitely Cam Akers. He's number one. Yeah. Contrarian play, Chris Carson. Let's go ahead and move on to.
I do want to mention Nyheim Hines. I did talk about Jonathan Taylor and how he's been getting the majority of the snaps, but we have seen some game scripts where they've gotten behind and they put Hines in. And if you're playing him, that's really what you're hoping for, right? At 4,700, that he gets enough, pass game usage, or he gets one of those crazy long plays where he pays off his slate. But that's kind of
maybe this is breaking news, but New Orleans will have fans.
Oh,
that's what G-Man J says.
Okay.
Let me go.
Well, if they do, I don't think they'll have many either way. Not enough. I mean, like you said.
Oh no, they will. They'll have. Yeah, you're right. They'll only have 3,000 fans.
Yeah.
Guess what, guys? That's called a tailgate. That's called a tailgate. Okay, let's take.
Yeah, I tell you the interesting thing. We haven't really talked much about Brown Steelers, other than because I think most of the plays are here coming up at wide receiver. But I do want to touch real quick because I think there's 2 ways this game's play out. Right. Either Cleveland has been doing their Zoom practices all week. They don't have their coach. They show up completely unprepared. and the Steelers D just runs over Baker Mayfield and James Conner gets to run the ball 20 times in the second half. I think that's entirely realistic that happens. And if that does happen at 5K, he's underpriced, right? Now, if you think Cleveland actually prepared well enough, like the Bills did when they had to do it via Zoom, or the Ravens did, I think, they show up, they play strong, and they play Pittsburgh well. How do they do it? And it's through the run game, right? So Pittsburgh has actually been somewhat susceptible to the run since, what's his name, Bud Dupree went out. So, I mean, we saw last week, obviously, Nick Chubb broke off that one long run, but you can actually run the ball against Pittsburgh a little bit lately. So if you think that Cleveland comes out and actually makes this a game, I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are your targets as far as how could a game script play out where they actually keep it close. Kareem Hunt at 4,800. Again, we're talking about GPP plays on a 3-game slate. But if you think Cleveland could keep it close, I think they do it with the running game.
I agree with you there. I mean, they have to play smash mouth defense and run the ball down their throat against the Steelers because you're not going to match them. Well, I love Baker Mayfield, as everybody knows, but you can't match their offense in the playoff like that. One of the other contending players is definitely Ronald Jones. He should play in this game. He's healthy. He doesn't have fucking COVID no more. But that's for sure him. But I think we covered all the guys. We have a question from Cassandra, and it's just for me. Hold on. Hey, it's for me, Grayson McGuire. That's the question for him. Grayson, you taking Taylor in the first round? And he said it was a non-DFS question, so let's give him a little. You taking Taylor in the first round in 2021? Oh man, it's pretty close. If me being myself, if I was in the 7th to 12th pick, which is the average league. I mean, if you're playing in a 10 team, then you better dominate. A 12 team, okay. 16 team, oh, now we're talking. Well, he just said you can answer too, Tim. Wow, he's giving us permission to talk on our own show. What do you know? Nice. That's better than Jeff telling us to shut up. No, for sure. In a 12,
I haven't even really looked at it, but like you said, I could imagine it being 10 to 12, something like that.
In a 12 team, I'll take Taylor in the first round. In a 10 team, it's pushing it because the PPR kind of worried. I mean, Marlon Mack won't be there no more. Not that he was this whole year. And Naheem Hines, I don't know what his contract situation really is, but Taylor has shown at the end of the season that he's definitely a top 6 running back at least. But I mean, you're pushing the button. But yeah, I think I would take him in the top 12, like a 12-team league.
All right, it's time for wide receivers.
This is my favorite position because we have like 10,000.
I know we actually are running late even on a 6-game slate. So as per usual, we have to get to these pretty quick.
What's the time limit and what are we at? Jeff would be our dad, Jeff Lambert, in podcast world would be so disappointed.
So disappointed.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and I think
let's just start with Stefan Diggs. Just draw a line through Stefan Diggs. You play Stefan Diggs. You don't need any analysis here. He's the best wide receiver play on the slate in terms of volume, in terms of upside, matchup. Just play Stefan Diggs. Let's talk about other wide receivers.
Do what Jim said, please, right now. You see, wrong way. What he said, just do it. No, Stefan Diggs definitely one of the best play for sure. I think on a Saturday slate, you're gonna play Chris Godwin right next, but on a full slate, you're gonna play Michael Thomas if he plays because his value at 6 point. Come on, if I were to tell you, Tim, at the beginning of the season, if I told you, dude, Tim, oh my God. Can you hear that? Oh my God, Michael Thomas is 6.4K, bro.
Yeah.
Are you gonna play him?
Yeah, he would. If it was week 1, he would be at like 80%.
But then if I were to tell you this, Tim, oh my God, he's 6.4K in the playoff game. Are you gonna play him? Yeah, and maybe sure. I mean, he might have a tough matchup, but it's Michael Thomas, 6.4K. He definitely for sure gonna be up there. It's just Stefan Diggs, such a great player. Like you almost want to say you want to lock him in, right? But I never say lock him in. But he's such a good play. I'm kind of worried about DK Metcalf because everybody likes him as a player or a person, but oh man, Jalen Ramsey, a tough matchup. Some people will argue with me.
All pro Jalen Ramsey.
All pro, $100 million man, Jalen Ramsey.
No, I ain't fucking with him.
My co-host. Well, actually, she is my host. I'm the guest. I don't know what it is. But on Sunday, me and her argued. Gladys, shout out to Gladys. Every Sunday when the Rams played the Seattle Seahawks, and I was like, oh, Jalen Ramsey will shut down DK Metcalf. I'm like, nobody can shut down DK Metcalf. Yeah, he might get slowed down. But guess what? The thing that worries me is that price, $6.7K. Yeah. I don't think I really want to pay for it. I'd rather pay up for Godwin or Stefan Diggs at almost like $1K more. But on a 6-game slate, yeah, I don't think I really want to pay up for that.
So who do you like on if you're playing just the Sunday slate?
Just on the 6-game slate?
No, the Sunday, the 3-game. So if you're not playing Diggs, you like Michael Thomas. Who else?
Let me get it.
Okay, I'll talk about a couple I like real quick. I've talked all year. Again, I said I think Goff will be back. So the only play I like really here is Bobby Trees, a.k.a. Robert Woods. I think that he's gotten consistent volume all year. The only problem is he's priced in that 6,200, where he's the same price as Deontay Johnson and 100 more than Antonio Brown, who are arguably in probably better spots, right? So that's the thing about that 6K range is I think that it's tough for me. Like I want to lean Antonio Brown probably, but I don't know. Deontay Johnson just gets so much volume.
So you said Sunday, you meant Saturday, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, wait a minute. You say Sunday or Saturday?
No. I was going to talk about Allen Robinson, but then I wanted to get down into the mid-ranges where you're looking at.
On a Saturday slate, I definitely love Stefan Diggs, Chris Godwin. But the thing is, I think, to me, is this. These wide receivers are so highly priced that if you pay up for them, you're not going to get the best running back. Right. Because Johnston 7.93K. Cam Akers is definitely a value, but then you're going to want to pay up for Kumar. Depends on the slate you play, right? So you really have to. But one of my favorite plays of the whole slate, and we're talking like the whole overall slate, 6-game slate, is John Brown.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, this guy's 4.7K. Every single time Josh Allen does great, great is when John Brown is playing. I mean, Stefan Diggs does carry him over the top, obviously, but when John Brown plays, he's definitely probably one of my favorite plays. And the crazy thing is, he's the best value play for me, for sure. On both sides, basically, we haven't talked about FanDuel at all, but on both sides. But I mean, it's just to me, it's John Brown, Stefan Diggs. I don't know, man. I don't really want to play Terry McLaurin, even though he's okay as a opportunity and everything.
I had him on my list and I took him off because I decided I'd rather trust Allen Robinson to get enough garbage time stats to have a higher ceiling than Terry McLaurin. So that's kind of how I viewed it. But I agree with you. I think on this slate, it's a lot of slates, right? Most slates, you want to pay up for running back and you're thinking, how do I do that and still have enough upside to win a tournament? And it's you play those guys, I think, in the 5K range and hope they go off, right?
Yeah.
So Jay mentioned Ebron as a punt at tight end. I don't hate it. They have great defense versus position. Cleveland's terrible against tight ends, but he hasn't showed up lately, and that's kind of what bothers me a little bit, especially when there's some other guys in that same range I think I like better.
So I got to do this because we do this every show. Someone takes a potty break, so I'll be back.
All right. I'll see what I can do to fill some time while Harrison is gone here. Yeah, so actually, I like Ebron. I had him on my list originally, but you guys know I like to kind of keep my tight end list small, about 5 guys, and so he didn't quite make the cutoff there. We'll see how Gerson feels about this when he gets back, but probably my favorite wide receiver play on the whole slate is Chase Claypool. I think he's a little bit underpriced at $5,200. Gives you $1,000 savings over Deontay Johnson. And I just feel like he owns the Browns, right? Like, I just feel like he's the play here that kind of gives you the money you need to get up and pay for those running backs. So I think Gerson mentioned John Brown, who I think is a great play at $4,700. But I'm going to pay an extra $500 and get my favorite, which is Chase Claypool.
Yeah, I like that call. Chase Claypool is just certainly a GPP. He's just one of those guys that he can. It scares me because you either play him or you don't, because he can take off. But I mean, it just, to me, just wide receiver slate so crazy. But I think everybody's gonna go so heavily owned on those Buffalo wide receivers, and it's crazy. But I think if you want to get crazy on a Saturday slate, you for sure want to go Stefan Diggs, Chris Godwin, DK Metcalf, Taylor Lockett, Robert Woods. But I mean, T.Y. Hilton at 5K is a little bit different. Oh.
Hey, I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. What'd I miss?
No. So I was talking about the wide receivers. So you said John Brown definitely up there. This is why we need Jeff, guys. We're not the host. This is why.
No, we need his fancy equipment that we do not have.
Yeah. We need a producer, aka Jeff. No. I want
to talk about Cory Davis. I actually want your opinion, and I want the chat's opinion on Cory Davis, because I feel like this is the guy. Like, he is my DFS nemesis. I never ever get this dude right.
Shh. I was gonna talk about him. Way to ruin it.
Let's do it then.
Okay, so Cory Davis has to be everybody's enemy, right? Like
you
just said.
Wash his hands.
Either drafted him in your first pick overall in Dynasty as a rookie. You either drafted him too early in the mid-range where you're like, oh, yeah, this is his year. Or this year where you were like, oh, yeah, I'm going to play him. And next thing you know, he only gives you like 6 points. And then the next game, he gets you 30 points. You know, it's just like there's always that one guy that's like the good guy and the bad guy, the angel or the devil. You know, it's just like that. And that's definitely him. But guess what? It shocked me so much when I saw the ownership percentage on him. It's coming up high.
Yeah.
And it worries me a little bit. But I think
at one point he PFF's number 2 graded wide receiver. Like, that's crazy. This dude was a massive disappointment for pretty much his entire career. And then this year he's like, oh yeah, I'm going to learn how to run routes now. Like, I don't know, man. Maybe he got, because he was always physical. That was always a big part of his game. So I don't know what it is, but it still seems like he'll play a really good game and then just take a shit the next game.
You know what I really think about it? I think it's just his contract year. He's like, I'm going to get paid, brother.
Yeah. Hey, money is the best motivation, man. You don't got to tell me.
Life. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I bust my ass in DFS or in real life work, I'm like, hey, man, I'm just trying to get money here. But he's actually coming in at 26% ownership. That's the third highest with Michael Thomas, Stefan Diggs on the 6-game slate. I mean, if you were to tell me the top 3 wide receivers in the playoff were going to be Cory Davis, Michael Thomas, Stefan Diggs, I said, one of those don't fit, but okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, how about this? Week 11, when they played at Baltimore, he was also 4,800. And he went 7 for 133 for 19.3 DraftKings points.
I didn't watch.
So I think if you're going to look at the game log, you're going to look at that and be like, same price. That looks awful nice. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a real decision. You can play 2 of those guys, I think, but I think it gives you a pretty low floor. So unless you're really wanting to pay up, I think that you're going to pick one of those values.
Is Marcus Peters full healthy? Because that's the question.
Yeah.
I think he's good to go. I think he's going to be covering Cory Davis. But 4.8K or 4.7, here's the way I put it. I'd rather play John Brown at 4.7K, Xavier Road, than Marcus Peters versus Cory Davis.
Is there anybody below John Brown you would play?
I don't think so. Maybe no, he's not even below. Maybe T.Y. Hilton again. No, not even him.
More too.
I don't think so. But
yeah. I would have said Mooney, but I think he's still dealing with that injury a little bit. He had a ton of volume last week, but I think my kind of sneaky, like, he could be the sit call. I expect Cole. Let me first of all, I expect Cole Beasley to play. We haven't really talked about Cole Beasley. I expect Cole Beasley to play. If for whatever reason Cole Beasley does not play, I think McKenzie becomes one of the best values on the slate, because I think that Gabriel Davis fills in for John Brown and McKenzie kind of fills in for Cole Beasley. They do kind of similar stuff. So I think at 3,300, he'll at that point have a reasonable target expectation and is a $1,400 savings over some of the guys we've talked about. So again, it's only if Cole Beasley is out. He'll be somewhat popular either way, but I think that he projects much better if Beasley is out. That's kind of what unlocks everything, I think.
Yeah, I do agree. Like I said, the most popular option everybody can want to do is Josh Allen with either one of his two wide receivers, and then stack it, and then just whatever else you can find. The thing, I have to say this because I've been saying it all year. My boy Deontay Johnson, I think he can probably break the slate, man.
Yeah.
Against Terrence Mitchell, cornerback matchup. We've seen it every for the last, I don't know, the whole season basically. He always comes up big in games that matters, and it's just, to me, Deontay Johnson is one of the wide receivers that gets so much usage, so much reception and everything. Oh, by the way, Matt Dahl, I didn't wash my hand, but I use hand sanitizer.
Welcome in, Mr. Wolf Cub.
Yeah,
show up just in time.
Oh, is that Mr. Wolf Cub?
It is.
What a Jared.
Yeah, man, I love the Deontay call. I think he's such a great play. I'll have some exposure, but like I said, I think Claypool is going to be my my value guy. I do want to talk about one more guy, which 2020 was crazy for many reasons, and among them is the fact that Robbie Anderson and Marquis Brown became, like, they did not become boom or bust guys. Like, they're, what I mean? Like, they'll get you like 15 points every week, and that's how I feel about Marquis Brown this week. Yeah. I think at 5,400, he's in that same kind of range where people are going to look at him and be like, oh man, this guy's got 30-point upside. I want to play him at 5.4K. And I just don't really feel like they use him like that anymore, right? They use him more on the shorter routes and try and get him target volume. And so, like, I think Claypool, again, has a better chance of breaking the slate at 5,200 than he does. Just my personal thing.
The thing that worries me more about this game is that Cleveland and Pittsburgh are known for what? Running the ball down people's throat and smash mouth defense. Baker's not going to throw for 400 yards. Big Ben can throw for 400 yards, but guess what? Coughlin, he's delusional. Like, this guy's just like, we're either going to run the ball, pass the ball, whatever works for us. And we don't know what's going to work for them. But it's just, I think wide receivers, I think the top guys that you really want to play is, like we said, Michael Thomas, Stefan Diggs, Cory Davis, John Brown, and let me get on the other slate.
So your favorite Tampa Bay wide receiver, though, is Godwin, and I think mine is Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I love Godwin. And Mike Evans out, right? He's not playing, right?
I don't think he's out. Last I saw, he was questionable. I can double check that, but I don't think he's been ruled out.
Oh, shout out to him. Very good. Said one thing a friend of mine said when talking about stack. Can you imagine playing Brady and Godwin when you play Allen and Diggs for 1.3?
Yeah, he's questionable.
I don't know about you, but yeah, I can imagine that because Allen and Diggs have had like what? Maybe like 70-point upside at least.
Yeah.
Brady and Godwin probably like I don't even think 70-point upside. But no, it's just the weapons. There's just so many more weapons in Tampa Bay. So let's get to our Oh, we get really prepared for this. Let's get to our stack of the week.
No, defense.
Oh.
All right, this is my segment, so I'll just go ahead and take it from here.
Let me lean back. Go ahead.
No, I did say that I think that there's a couple game scripts that could play out in this Pittsburgh game. I think it's entirely likely the Browns show up unprepared. If that happens, the Pittsburgh Steelers defense at 3,600 are probably the actual best value on the slate. You're going to look at this kind of like Jared just said in the chat and think, I can't believe I didn't pay the extra $600, $700, $800 to get to the Steelers defense when they break this slate, right? So if you think the Browns show up, obviously it's not a play. But if you feel like I do, that the Browns may lay an egg here, the Steelers defense at 3,600 is underpriced. If you want a cheaper, obviously they blew out Baker earlier in the season, but that's when they were kind of rolling. Mid-range, I really like the Seahawks. Like I said, I expect Jared Goff to play, but I don't know how well he'll play. Obviously, if he plays badly enough, they'll go to John Wolford, and then it'll guarantee at that point that the Seahawks D paid off. They get actually a good amount of pass rush lately, so I think that they haven't been giving up as many yards, but I think that they make a good mid-range. And then I can't believe I'm saying this, but if I'm going to punt, I'm punting with the Colts D. So I think that I'm not going to have a lot of Colts D. Like I said, I think I'm mainly going to be exposed there. But I think this is a situation where they may get in a position where Josh Allen is having to, they get up early and he's having to drop back and throw a lot, and they're able to get some pressure on him. Now they're going to score points, and I think that there's a good chance that they put up 30 plus points, like I think they're projected 29. But I also think there's a chance of a couple sacks, maybe a fumble, and if that happens to get returned for a touchdown, then the Colts D becomes easily the best value. Scott just mentioned in the chat the Rams D are in a similar position. You expect Russ to get his, but if you get one pick or one turnover that turns into a score, that's how you win on these short slates, is having that super low end defense that gets a touchdown. So again, I think the Steelers are far and away the best play, at least in my opinion. But if you're going to punt all the way down and say I really want to get up to, it's actually the exact same amount of DK 1,300, right? So Jonathan Taylor in the Steelers defense, and then Derrick Henry in the Colts defense, right? So if you want to do that 2v2 swap, it gives you some leverage and maybe let you pay up for somebody you couldn't otherwise afford.
I'm just going to do the Will Smith meme. I think he's right, because I'm not going to I'm not going to counter that. This is the defensive guru right here. Oh, right here. But we do the defense, and then after that, we do our stack of the week. I think everybody's stack of the week better be Stefan Diggs, Josh Allen, or either Beasley, maybe. It just better be Josh Allen. I mean, I think for me, for stack, it's pretty simple on this slate. It's either that or maybe you get a little contrarian with Big Ben and one of the wide receivers we mentioned, Deontay Johnson, and you said Claypool, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I mentioned at the top of the show that my stack was Tannehill, because I expect, obviously, as always, Henry to carry heavy ownership. I love Tannehill this week as a lower owned than Josh Allen, which is my favorite stack and should be, it should be the top stack. But I think that Tannehill may come in a little bit lower owned than he should.
So Matt Dahl, one of our favorite person in the world for sure. He said the Bucs defense. Yeah, sure, you can play them, but the thing is, 3 points for a K, that's a lot of money,
Mm-hmm.
On a slate like this, playing the Saints, playing the Steelers, Bills, the Buccaneers defense, you want to look for turnovers and everything. And I think the Buccaneers are just going to run the ball and score touchdowns after that. They just want to get in and get out. That's it. They don't care about beating the Washington football team for more than 40 points. They just want. They'll take a 1 point win if they can. I don't think you can do that, right? Safety, 2 point, yeah. But no, I like the Buccaneers defense, but not at 3 points for a K. I think, like I said, like we said all on this whole podcast, Joe. Oh my goodness. Did I just get a text? Gee, shut the fuck up. You're going too long on the show. Jeff Lambert, what do you know? All right, guys. No, let's get to our sick call of the week.
No. I already gave my sick calls away. I don't have a sick call if you do.
You said Darnell Mooney, right?
No, I said Isaiah McKenzie. But
ooh. Well, I got one. And then T.Y. Hilton in a tough matchup against Tre'Davious White. I think he's gonna have his farewell. Like, oh, guess what, Phil Rivers? I'll catch a good one for you, buddy. Since you're like 30, how old is Phil Rivers? He's like 36, 35. Anyway, and send him into retirement. Bye. Well, this wild card was a crazy one. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like, I when we talked
39.
about he's 39.
Phillip Rivers is 39. Yeah.
Good God, I do.
That's you couldn't tell from his shot put motion. No, no, it's always been ugly. But yeah, he's definitely feeling it. He doesn't have that same like Tom Brady, drive like LeBron. Same thing where they have to be in tip-top shape 24/7. He's had his kids, right? He's good. He's just going out there and throwing the ball for as long as he can. Yeah, exactly. Just to keep things going. But yeah, I agree. I think this could be the last game, likely the last game we see with Phillip Rivers. It wouldn't surprise me if he tried to get T.Y. one before he goes.
I think Tom Brady has 3 kids, and he kissed one of them on the mouth. And I mean, Phillip Rivers has 9 kids. He hasn't kissed one on the mouth, I'm pretty sure. I'm kidding. Not on video. But anyway, guys, we want to thank you for tuning in for the Armchair, Fantasy Show. Again, this was just a bonus. I don't know. Maybe we come back for next week. I don't know. We don't know. It just might come up. But Tim, Keto DFS or Keto DFS. I think it's Keto. I think Keto is cool. Oh, so Jeff Lambert been saying it wrong the whole time. I knew it. But with Keto DFS, the Fantasy G, and Jeff Lambert, what is 79 or something? I don't know. Thank you for tuning in. I want to special shout out to all you guys that tuned in, and I hope you guys win $1 million. If you do, please donate a little bit too.
Hey, one thing I will tell y'all is you definitely want to, as always, we tell you every week, get in the DFS Roundtable group on Facebook. The NBA chat and the chat roll has been absolutely fire so far this season. We've already had a couple people pushing takedowns. So you want to get in that chat. We are talking all the way up to lock every single day. We've even started doing roundtable contests just for fun to kind of show who's the king of the arena in the roundtable group. So
not me.
It's not me either. No, it's not me either. But you want to get in there. You want to be part of that. It's great discussion every day. And as always, man, go Pack, go.
Peace. My name is Jeff Lambert. You guys